Good morning, welcome to my review of my 2015 Golf GTE. Now if you're watching this video, you're probably watching it to get a grip on whether this is going to be the right car for you. And I've had this car for nearly 2 years on a 3-year lease, so I'm hoping I'll be able to give you a little bit of insight as to what it's like. Now if you're considering getting one, it's probably because you're looking to save money on your fuel, which is fair enough. Fuel is expensive and you've got to do your bit for the environment. Now, the manufacturer, Volkswagen, claim this car will do it's something like 168 mpg. Now, currently I'm getting 192, which is pretty good because that's better than what the manufacturer thinks. So, if you're going to buy one of these, you're looking to save fuel, right? Well, I get, at the minute, 192 mpg. Now, unfortunately, this car has a really annoying little bug where it resets your little trip for your MPG. And previously, I'd be able to get 300 and all sorts of different numbers. You can pretty much get that figure to whatever you want, depending on what kind of driving you do. The worst I've ever had is something like 80. So the worst MPG you're ever going to get in this car is something like 80 MPG. Is pretty good. It all depends on what sort of mileage you do. Now, I have a 9 to 5 job, so get in the morning, I go to work, which is 9 miles away, and then at the end of the day I come home 9 miles back. Now the manufacturer says you can get 31 miles of pure electric drive out of this, so great, you can go all electric there and all electric back. You don't use any fuel. Brilliant. Another advantage I have is when I go to work, I can charge the car there, which I've got to plug you into the 240 volt socket, and you can charge it. It's a bit slow, but if you're in work like all day, you've got all day to charge it. Also, the other good thing about it, if you're just using it for the short range journey, is you can pretty much nail it there and nail it back. You know, you don't, if you're only going like 9 or 10 miles and you've got a 31 mile range, even though you don't really get 31, you get at best 26, depending on how you drive. You're gonna have like the air con off and no heater, and it'd be a perfect day, and driving a straight line at 50 mile an hour, blah blah blah. The best thing about the electric mode in this car though is the way it drives. This has got the best drive any car I've ever driven. The power, you get it immediately, okay? There's no weight, there's no, you know, lift in the clutch, and then the power, or turbo lag, it's even worse. The power's just there, as soon as you want it, under the pedal. There's only 100 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you never feel impatient with this car. It's really, really good. So when I first got this car, I thought, is this sort of hybrid gonna work? You know, would I not have just been better getting the Golf GTI and then paying for all the fuel? Because this car is quite expensive. So when I got it, I was like, maybe I'll drive everywhere in the GTE mode, which is the fast mode, which uses both the petrol engine and the electric mode to power the wheels. And yeah, for, you know, the first few times I drove it, I thought, oh, this is great fun, it's really fast. And then I started thinking, well, you know, I bought it to save fuel, let's try an electric. And the quality of electric drive is really, really good. Okay, it's not frustrating at all, it's not slow, it's great. You know, when you're on the motorway doing 70 mile an hour, it is a little bit weak. But if you're on the motorway, you're probably going to want to change over the petrol engine anyway, because of that air resistance. You're doing 70 mile an hour, you're not going to get the mileage, you know. So you're better off getting on the motorway and then being in top gear, just to get the best mileage you can. Again, if you're someone that's doing a lot of motorway miles, a hybrid probably isn't the car for you, because you know, they've got to carry all the weight of two engines and stuff, and if you're doing loads of miles, they just can't be as efficient. So some other pointers about the car. This car is a really nice place to be. It's very beautifully designed. Everything, there's, you know, there's leather and metal work, and everything's well laid out and pretty. It really makes it an easy place to be. When you are on the motorway, it's not bad. The ride's a little firm, which I think they might have done to try and bolster their fuel economy statistics, so that there's less energy lost in the suspension, and to make it feel a little sporty, I guess. So on the motorway, it's not bad. It could be softer. So with the high sticker price, the kind of filled this car with sort of the best trim level they could to try and make it worth the money. So you're getting the Golf GTE, GTD sort of level of trim, you know. So you've got all the leather, I've got sat nav included in this one, reversing sensors. You can get a reversing camera, but this one doesn't have it. So when it comes to driving sort of dynamically, it would be ridiculous to say this car's slow, but it's not really. Oh, there you go, that speaks for itself. It's certainly not slow, but because it's heavier with having all the hybrid equipment, it isn't going to be as sort of honed as a GDI. Obviously it's not, but it's pretty good. You know, you obviously don't buy a hybrid to go and rake it around a B road or, you know, fly down the motorway. You buy a hybrid because you're looking to save fuel and you've got maybe a boring little commute. Let's say my route to work, there's a lot of traffic, so if you're in a manual, you're up and down on the clutch all the time, you're in the low gears, you're using a lot of fuel. So in this, you've got an automatic gearbox, so you don't have to be up and down with your left foot, that can just rest, and then you can just dab on the accelerator to move forward backwards. Then you're in the electric mode, so you're not wasting any fuel. So, are you going to buy one? Is it going to work for you? Well, the first thing, like I mentioned earlier, is you've got to look at the type of mileage you're going to do. If you're going to be going less than 30 miles to work and back, or whatever your daily commute is, it's probably going to be great because you want to be in electric mode all the time. The beauty of having the petrol engine there is just so it's there, so if you've got to go further you can. You're not limited like you are in a pure electric car of, even the best ones, 300 miles. So if you want to go somewhere further than that, or somewhere 200 miles away and come back, you've got to stop off and have a charge up. Now chargers are getting better, but at the moment the petrol engine for that little bit further distance is not a bad compromise. The small disadvantage of this car is the boot space. So the Golfs have usually got a pretty reasonable boot space, you know, for like family size amounts of bags, and this one, it's not bad, but it's about the size of a smaller hatchback's boot. This one isn't as deep because they've had to move the fuel tank to where the bottom of the boot should be to be able to fit the batteries in. So it is a bit smaller, but I'll manage with it. I almost forgot to mention one of the best things about this car. Best things, it's kind of a novelty thing, but when you're approaching a junction, or let's say some traffic lights that are red, you can change the gear stick from drive to brake. So what that does is it just drags on the transmission, so we're slowing down now, and then all that energy it drags, it uses to recharge the battery. When you drive it in electric mode, it's rather pleasant to drive because of the no noise. But if you put your foot down, let's say you're getting out of a junction, which you can do really quickly because you get all that power straight away, it just does a little whine, just like a backwards whistle. It's funny, it's like you're in a spaceship. Another thing I like about this car is it does just look like a normal car. It's just like a normal Golf. You know, it doesn't need to be, there we go. It doesn't need to be, you know, like I'm a hybrid car, look at how weird and 21st century I am. You know, it just looks normal. So with the different driving modes, you can change what you want the car to do. So at the minute I'm in fully electric, so I'm just using the electric motor to power the wheels. But you can put it into GTE mode, which drives the wheels using the engine and the electric motor for full power. You can set the engine up to recharge the battery, or you can just use the engine on its own so that you save your electric. So if you like, you live in London where there's a congestion zone, if you go in all electric, it's free. So if you live like 60 miles away or whatever, you can drive in with your petrol engine, get there, flick it into electric, and then drive around in London on electric and not pay congestion. I think all that power in the electric straight away, coupled to the automatic transmission, it just makes this car so easy to drive every day. You know, and that tricky commute to work, if that's what it is. You know, it's less stressful. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please hit like, or if you want to leave a comment and talk about this car, or whether you've got one, what sort of mileage you get, or whether you think to get one, then leave a comment below, and you and some of the others can discuss. Good luck on your car adventures.